Why was there a tiger on the show? Why was it part of Scott Steiner's entrance? Did it maul or chase anybody backstage? Who the fuck knows? Nobody booking the show sure as fuck didn't. I'm John Rentham with a retro review of WCW Nitro from October 23rd, 2000. Yep, the Go Home Nitro for WCW Halloween Havoc 2000. We're almost out of the Vince Russo era, thank fucking Christ. Unfortunately, we have about 2 more months of Mark Madden plaguing commentary before his worthless ass is shown the door. Thank you very much to whoever got Mark Madden canned, because he never deserved the fucking job in the first place. So, yeah, Go Home show for Halloween Havoc 2000. I can't say that this is the worst goddamn show I've seen, because it wasn't as messy as last week's Thunder. But that being said, the recaps of the Aussie shows that weren't all that good, and then they're in Little Rock, Arkansas, so I guess that's where they got the tiger. There are a lot of tigers in Arkansas. I don't really know much about Arkansas, but fucking hell. We get Chuck Palumbo and Sean Stasiak versus, with Kevin Nash, by the way, Kevin Nash on commentary, versus the Nazi Harris brothers. They made Stasiak kind of a goof and everything, and he kept showing off, and then eventually Palumbo got pinned. Nash was upset at both of them and basically said he's going to teach Stasiak tough love later. And then we get Mike Sanders in a promo talking about facing Miller, and he's going to have a 3-round exhibition kickboxing match tonight. That's going to improve the ratings. Improve them in the sense that they're going to shove him into the goddamn floor, because Mike Sanders was not a ratings draw at all. He was fine, mostly annoying, but he wasn't a ratings draw. So, Mean Gene then interviews Booker, going over the last few months being world champion and his feud with Scott Steiner, and then here's Scott Steiner. Save the drama for your mama, because she doesn't know how much the welfare check is worth yet. Mentioning about her working the street corner for $1.95 an hour. And just going after Booker T's mama for absolutely no reason. Stevie Ray, by the way, on commentary not being very happy at this point. By the way, Stevie Ray and Booker are brothers, in case you didn't know that. Just in case you're tuning in, you're unfamiliar with WCW, and you lived under a rock and don't really study wrestling at all. But anyway, they brawl, and then Jarrett runs in. Then Sting, because we needed to, revisit this match, because that needed to happen. Then the locker room empties. So stop this big pull-apart brawl to end Nitro. It's the second segment. The second fucking segment. Vince Russo could not format a goddamn show, and he could not, father 2 kids, because the dickless, ballless wonder had to just tell his wife, hey, you gotta go get, artificially inseminated at a clinic, because I'm not able to father any kids. Bro. Swerve, bro. I fucking hate Vince Russo, in case you can't fucking tell. So, then Sanders runs down Miller, and quotes Freebird's Bad Street USA, living down the baddest block in the USA. And then his 3 opponents are the Young Dragons. Leia Meow is also there, the Asian woman that, whipped them into shape. That's why she was there. She was there to be an Asian dominatrix, because why not? Objectifying women, it's so goddamn fun. At least it must have been for wrestling. Okay, so he puts either alcohol or something on his goddamn gloves. I think it's supposed to be like some kind of alcohol or ether that knocks you out instantly. He knocks out Jamie's son, and Siren, one of the former Nitro girls, is one of the ring girls, looking pretty good, and Stevie says, leave Siren in the ring, and then Shivani's like, well, I can agree with that. And then he knocks out Yang, and puts more liquid on his gloves, and then on the turnbuckle. And then Kaz Hayashi tries to, knocks the helmet off of Sanders. I doubt the helmet would have held his brain in there, because that left about 10 years before he started his wrestling career. And then Kaz gets face full of stuff in the turnbuckle and is knocked out, and Sanders wins. Then Miss Jones distracts. After Leia had tried to low blow Sanders, and he had a cup, because apparently he knew this was going to happen. And then Miss Jones distracts while Miller comes up from behind and attacks Mike Sanders. This is all the shit that's going on for Halloween Havoc, or hyping up Halloween Havoc. Is this making you want to buy the pay-per-view? Well, it can be dumb if you want to buy the pay-per-view, because it's available on the WWE Network and the show's 20 years old. But anyway, this wouldn't sell many people on the pay-per-view. Then Chronic, run down Goldberg and then say, hey, somebody paid them to, get their services. There's the KPA, the Chronic Protection Agency. It's like the Acolyte Protection Agency, because WCW was all about copying WWE at this point. Not that WWE didn't copy WCW, but WWE was way on the rise at this point. WCW is in the goddamn shitter. So, it's 3 count. 3 count Iron Chronic to not interrupt their not have their concert interrupted. Said they're going to perform all their songs, and then Brian Clark says, wait, how many songs do you have? No, we're not going to do that. Impromptu match, and they pin Shane with the high time soon after. Cool. That's how they use 3 count. And then Nash says he's going to teach Stasiak a lesson. And then, references Scott Hall getting his release and says the Outsiders will ride again. This is also shortly before Scott Hall would go to ECW for a couple shows, and yeah, it wasn't very pretty that Scott Hall was part of a ECW show, because he couldn't fucking work at all. He just fucking couldn't. His demons had taken hold, and also a lot of people he'd screwed over were in ECW, and it didn't fucking work. Then MIA impersonates Team Canada. It was not like the Nation being mocked by DX or nobody in blackface. Thank fucking God they didn't go that far with Chavo. They only made Chavo a white guy in WWE later. If it's not white, it's not right. That's something they had Chavo say as Kerwin White, by the way, just in case you're unfamiliar with that gimmick, which you should be unless you're a diehard wrestling fan / fanatic / insane maniac like I am. I don't know why I laughed at some of this. Maybe it's just because I just absolutely lost it and it was a fucking stupid segment. But I laughed at a bit of it. It was dumb, but it was what it was. It's just like Hugh Morris versus Lance Storm at Halloween Havoc 2000. I almost forgot what the pay-per-view was, despite the fact I mentioned it a few times. Mike Awesome then accepts a challenge from Scott Steiner that Steiner mentioned earlier because he was going to beat him up and everything and do all that because that's something that apparently needed to happen for the main event. Then Stasiak and the Thrillers are in the ring. Nash references Hall and then says, "Hey, Stasiak, you're on your own tonight." He faces Goldberg and loses instantly. Goldberg is 12-0. Goldberg then says he will demolish Chronic at Halloween Havoc. Jindrak and O'Hare versus the Boogie Nights versus Ray and Kidman at Halloween Havoc is made official 6 days before the pay-per-view happens. Hey, at least it wasn't the same night. But they just reference it. No graphic, no nothing. Shivani just mentions it. So, the Boogie Nights, by the way, Disco says, "Hey, we're starting an investigation about who let the dogs out," because that song was popular back then. Disco Inferno is one of the worst abominations to ever be in wrestling. Actually, one of the worst abominations of in the human race. Like, in the history of the human race, at least as far as, the last 100 years go. Disco Inferno was a goddamn piece of shit. Anyway, we get Alex Wright versus Kidman versus Jindrak. Match was fine. Then it became a brawl. Then it became, messy because everybody got involved including Tigress for what she's worth. Nothing. And Kidman gets tossed in the ring, but then soon after hits the Kid Crusher. Thank God they didn't call it the Kid Crusher Club, if you fucking get it. And pins Alex Wright 1, 2, 3. Crowbar was then polishing his staff around Pamela. His exact words. To be fair, moving on. Video package on the David Flair, Stacy, and Buff stuff. And, no, not Buff. I'm the stuff. It's like the video package on the DNA match that's going to happen at Halloween Havoc. I'm not looking forward to that, guys, but I'm going to review it. I'm going to review it till the end. God damn it. This has been fun. It hasn't been boring, but it's been annoying. If that makes any sense. Don't rewatch WCW 2000 like I have been. Just from the reboot episode alone to now has just been draining as fuck. It's been fun though. No, it's been a chore. But also it's reminded me that things could always get worse. You could have terrible booking like this. You could also have terrible booking like the most recent episode of WWE Raw. Or maybe, not the most recent edition, depending on when you're watching this. So anyway, we get Crowbar versus Vampiro. Vampiro returning after a month after Mike Awesome laid him out. Just a brawl. The sad thing, this was pretty much the highlight of the goddamn show. This was a brawl. It was fun. Shivani said suckers sometimes gotta know, but sometimes they don't, because he's talking to Stevie Ray. We get a step spot, front suplex on to Vampiro. That looked painful. And then a belly-to-belly throw off the ropes by Vampiro, and then they brawl to the stage. Some druids help set up some tables. Some druids Vampiro has because he's the vamp taker, apparently. And they're near this DJ stand that they apparently have. And then Crowbar gets distracted, gets chokeslammed through both tables, safely, by the way, because Vampiro even pretty much drove him down, but made sure the Crowbar landed safely on the tables, as safe as you could. And then he's taken out, and then it's so funny. Vampiro says, "Mike Awesome, his blood is on your hands," because 2 months ago, no, he showed footage from the September 18th, 2000 edition of Nitro. So about a month and 5 days before this. And Awesome had thrown Vampiro through a table and, in the Awesome Bomb and laid him out. And he said, "I've had 2 months to think about that." It's been a month, Vampiro. I mean, apparently, he's a guy that kind of likes to fart on commentary, live on commentary on pay-per-view, if you know what I'm fucking talking about, that AAA event. Oh, sweet Jesus. And I like the Vampiro character, but I don't think math is his strong suit, and I don't think he owns a calendar. But anyway, he's going to face Mike Awesome at Halloween Havoc in 6 days, and that is going to be the infamous match where Vampiro unfortunately breaks his neck, and Mike Awesome continues on, while Vampiro, I believe, recovered but was never brought back to TV because I don't think he was back for a while because of a broken neck. Konnan and Tigress versus Shane and Torrie. And Shane was in a sling because he injured his arm, but then attacked Konnan with the cast. It's the same damn thing that they've been doing for a while in wrestling, except Shane wasn't very good by this point. And then Konnan just basically implies that he would give Torrie a facial before this match because respecting women, to be fair, Torrie's kind of a bitch, so you know what, maybe don't be a bitch. Okay, you know what, that's unfair because honestly, no person deserves to be made to feel that way, but Torrie also shouldn't be a fucking bitch like she is now, and you know what I'm talking about. Maybe don't support Candace Owens, you fucking moron. And to any other moron that's watching this, because I don't fucking care anymore, because I'm gonna be as outspoken as possible. If you don't like that, too fucking bad. My channel, I don't give a shit. So, yeah, the match happens. Wasn't good. Yokozuna's death got mentioned. Who the fuck won? I think Shane used the cast to hit the franchiser. Yokozuna's death got mentioned because this was the day of his death. I think he died in England. Very unfortunate. 34, 35 years old. I mean, he just got so huge. His body just couldn't take it, and even after he lost weight, it just was sad. Scott Steiner versus Mike Awesome. Scott Steiner had a fucking tiger with him for his entrance, and I don't know why. That tiger was terrified. That was absolutely, that tiger was absolutely goddamn terrified. And it was fucking frightening. Because a scared animal like that, I mean, we're about to get, Siegfried and Roy better start running is all I'm going to say. Match was basically a brawl. Booker was on commentary to hype up the match he's going to have against Scott Steiner, and then Recliner for the win. There. One of these days I'm going to stop ripping up my notes or crumbling up my notes for WCW, but it's not going to get any better, so we're just going to have to see how much more rage I can have towards this product until it's done. We're only 5 months away from being done, thank fucking God. The good news is at the end of December I can skip the Nitro and Thunder episodes because they're just recap shows. So at least I have one less week to review. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm Joe Retlin. I'll see you soon.